It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It's time for the Chiefs got belt to ass.
Holy fucking shit. On a night where the ass kickings continued throughout the entirety of the Super Bowl, even during the halftime show.
Even during the halftime show. When you have an entire football stadium shouting a minor, then you know you done messed up.
Bro, that whole night was just bliss to me. I don't think you truly understand.
I mean, I watched the entire game, and like I can see why you would enjoy the entirety of it because
From start to finish.
At one point the Eagles were up 34-0
Bro,
on the Chiefs.
Do you know how disrespectful it is to put your fucking backups in the Super Bowl?
Like I was thinking about it too because it's like, you know, why would they put their backups in? Because again, like you said, it's the Super Bowl, so it's not like they're playing another game in like a week or two.
Nah.
But yeah, Kenny Pickett had one pass that was incomplete and negative yards rushing because of the kneel down.
A couple of handoffs, 3 kneel downs. You know, Kenny Pickett can say, "I took snaps that helped win a Super Bowl." Sure, it was fucking meaningless snaps, but the motherfucker took them.
Yeah, and like that part, as a Steelers fan, was a little bit tough to take.
More tough than the fact that it's your cross-state brethren?
Well, here's the thing. Kenny Pickett went to Pitt, which, again, as a collegiate fan, that doesn't mean anything to me. But the fact they played for the Steelers for 2 years, people hyped him up like he was like the second coming of Roethlisberger or something. And he was, you know, barely like the second coming of Cordell Stewart. Like it was, it wasn't good.
He is a good white version of Seneca Wallace.
That's even arguable. But yeah, it's the Eagles whooped on them Chiefs.
Oh, dude, and I believe they had like 7 sacks throughout the game. Like Mahomes was pressured heavy in that game.
He was hit a lot, and I said this after the fact. Is like the Eagles have given the blueprint to the rest of the NFL on how to beat Kansas City. You get through that offensive line, that offense ain't doing a damn thing.
And if you notice, Saquon only had 83 rushing yards. Saquon, the biggest weapon of that team all year. Yeah. The Chiefs were worried about him. Meanwhile, Jalen Hurts probably had his best game of the season.
Yeah. Big G saying there were 6 sacks on Mahomes. Dwayne said 3 of them happened in a row. That was
that's probably why it felt like so many.
Yeah.
And if you notice, it was all that front 4. Like rarely did they rush, you know, like linebackers and stuff. That's just how brutal the Philly Georgia Bull Eagles are.
Let me tell you something. When you don't send blitz packages and you still get to the quarterback, that's a hell of a defensive line, my friend. Mm-hmm. It's insane. But before we get into like any football talk, before we get into any wrestling talk, we got a little special thing going on here tonight.
Yes, we do.
We got our half-priced spins night here if you donate to the Streamlabs link or you donate directly to the Great Cherry Brand PayPal like you did for the Royal Raffle. Either one. I don't care how you do it. But Mr. Matty Laws has given us 2 spins, which we're going to do one right now. We're going to do one in just a little bit. So we'll give you a little taste of it. And I changed the wheel around a little bit.
I did notice that.
A lot of it is the same, but I do have this on hand just in case. This has now become a fixture on the wheel. So
I'll laugh my ass off if that's the first thing we land on.
Knowing my luck, it will be. But I used to do pies for $25. So now
$5.
So now you can get one for as little as $5, potentially. I felt a little guilty of having a bankrupt spin or a bankrupt wedge on that wheel. So Pie in the Face replaced the bankrupt wedge. So there is no chance that you will get nothing on the wheel.
There's always going to be something happening.
There's always going to be something happening. So that said, let's get our first spin going.
With the new wheel.
All right, Maddie, I want you to name an entrance. That's what you get for your first one.
I could be rude and go with Kenny from the Spirit Squad. But we're going to send this one back a little bit. I want 2010's Kofi Kingston.
2010's Kofi Kingston. All right.
Just because I want to see how high you can jump.
Yeah. All right. Give me 1 second. I'll have to load it up on here. I should probably let the wife know because she's home tonight from Bible study.
Honey, you're going to hear one loud thud in a second.
Be like, you're going to hear some jumping. I'm okay. Just have to put that out there right away.
This one was literally just off the top of my head. So I don't. Have you ever done Kofi Kingston or New
I
Day?
don't think I have, but there have been a couple that I've done multiple times. Like I feel like I've done Shawn Michaels 2 or 3
You've
times.
You've done Michaels a couple times. I know you've done Triple H a couple times because once was Maven.
Yeah, because Maven requested Triple H, so obviously I did that one. I'm surprised he didn't make me go deep cut and try and do his entrance, but his entrance is kind of
again that's just more jumping.
It's more jumping, and like I could have gone heel and done the whole that thing and whatever.
Have you done Boogie more than once?
Well, I did Boogie. It's in the intro
gyration. I know you've done the gyration more than once, but have you done the full entrance more than once?
I don't know if I've done the full entrance. I did it in this room on the Christmas party a couple years ago.
Christmas episode.
Yeah. And that's very famously in the intro if you watch the intro to the show. That was a good one. I think that might have been the only time I've done. I might have done like this thing.
You've done his gyration a couple of times. I know that.
Which Jacob Fatu does that too. If you notice, like I was watching the Rumble, it's like he does the that
now
thing too.
I know that Boogie is like he was big on the independent scene in like the West and like Southern coast, like down towards Texas. Did he actually have like help in Jacob's career growing, or?
I don't know. Like I don't know if Jacob went through Reality of Wrestling or not. Because I know he was in MLW. I don't know if.
And I know Zila. Zila Fatu goes through Reality of Wrestling, so he might have done some work there, but I don't know if it was like extended to where like Boogie would be a big, influence on his career.
Yeah, I don't know either, honestly. All right, so let's get Kofi's, and this was Kofi before he was a dick that turned on Big E.
Boo, they stink.
Him and Woods.
Speaking of, before you get to the entrance, did you see that picture of the kid that was like, I messed up in school and my punishment was meeting Xavier Woods?
From a kayfabe perspective, that's hilarious.
That is the funniest thing. And it had to be like full kayfabe.
Yeah, it had to have been. From a non-kayfabe perspective, I would love to meet Xavier Woods, honestly.
Oh, absolutely.
Like getting on Up, Up, Down, Down one day is a goal.
Dude, that's a bucket list thing for you.
Yeah, it absolutely is. So.
And my brother was a huge Up, Up, Down, Down fan. Hell, listening to like the interviews he's done with Jericho and like other people, like he is. I feel like he would be one of the coolest people from the roster to like spend a day with.
Oh, I'm sure he would be. All right, so here we go. Kofi Kingston,
2010.
Jamaican Me Crazy. Trying to think if the thing tilts up. I'll do this. There we go. Oh, geez, that's not the intro cut version. Here we go. There you go.
To be fair, the rest of the entrance was just a whole bunch more of that.
Yeah. What I would love to have one day, I would love to have, like, if I had like the McAfee size studio and we were doing that, I could do like full entrance all the way to the ring. That'd be cool.
Even have like a little part of the set be like an entrance ramp.
Yeah.
Curtain and all.
Mm-hmm. And then that way, when guests come on the show, then they could come through that ramp and do whatever. Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
So there you go.
All right. Well, what else about the Super Bowl do we want to talk about? Well, it was a very definitive 40-22 win.
Mm-hmm. With lots of garbage time points.
Oh, yeah. I won't lie. It got me a little stressed seeing the Chiefs put up 3 touchdowns like back to back.
But the thing was, it was so far out of reach that it was just like, okay, you guys just made this look like a little better than it did. It was kind of like it put me in mind of the Notre Dame-Indiana playoff game in the first round of the college football play, where Notre Dame dominated for the first, 58 minutes and then gave up 2 touchdowns right away. It was a similar feeling to what the Eagles did with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So it was...
And it really was Mahomes' worst game of the season.
Mm-hmm.
It, maybe the worst first half of a quarterback in an NFL Super Bowl. And I had to watch Peyton Manning in Super Bowl 48. So, and that was a rough Super Bowl.
I was thinking to myself partway through the third quarter when the Eagles went up 34-0, I was thinking, is this Chiefs team going to be the first team in Super Bowl history to get shut out? And then they scored a touchdown on their next drive. I was like, well, damn it.
So it was you and my brother, you sons of bitches?
I had no skin in the game, okay? I didn't care one way or the other. The Steelers were out long before that game, so who cares?
Yeah. It was good to see the Chiefs get dethroned.
Yeah.
But this begs the question, Greg. In our lifetime, will we see a three-peat in the NFL?
I don't know the answer to that. It's very tough for a team to do it. Now it's really the Eagles' turn if they win the next 2. But I don't know. If the Eagles keep most of their staff, most of their players from this team, I see no reason why they can't win next year and possibly the year after. Because this is a stacked to the gills team. Offensively, defensively, special teams.
Special teams.
Yeah.
They had what? I think with the fumble and the 2 interceptions, they forced 13 turnovers the entire playoffs. Most teams don't get that in a regular season.
No. It was insane, the amount of production that they got.
And speaking of turnovers, happy birthday, happy Super Bowl victory to Cooper DeJean, 22 years old on that day and getting a pick 6 off of Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, happy birthday to Saquon Barkley, too. It was his birthday, and he won the Super Bowl as well.
Exactly. I'm surprised he didn't get a touchdown, though.
Yeah, screw up both my parlays, damn it.
Oh, exactly. But that, again, goes to the point of they built Saquon up all year. He actually broke the single season, including the playoffs, record for most rushing yards in a season.
That's crazy.
Held by Terrell Davis.
Mm-hmm.
So congrats to Saquon for categorically the best rushing season in NFL history. You can bitch and moan that there was an extra game. That doesn't mean shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people did the same thing when T.J. Watt tied Strahan's sack record, despite the fact that T.J. Watt actually should have broken Strahan's sack record.
Wasn't he also hurt for like 4 games that season too?
Yeah, he was out for like 4 to 6 games that season and still got 22 and a half sacks.
Yeah.
T.J. Watt was on another level here. I would love to see.
They still gave the title to Myles Garrett, didn't they?
No, that year T.J. actually got it. If Myles Garrett would have gotten the NFL Defensive Player of the Year the year that TJ got 22 and a half sacks, I would have questioned the NFL honors completely. Granted, I don't think Garrett deserved it the year he won it, which, again, the debate of Josh Allen getting it over Lamar Jackson was a hotly contested debate as well. Honestly, I'm fine with Josh Allen winning the MVP. MVP is like, does it get you extra money? Like, in the grand scheme of things, what does it mean for you? Negotiating power?
If you listen to Cam Newton, it's more important than a Super Bowl ring. So,
well, he should know, shouldn't he?
But
all right.
Yeah, going into this next season, it's going to be interesting, man.
Mm-hmm. But I'm sure viewers of our show can rejoice because we're not going to talk about football again until April.
Yeah, because
unless
that's when
something
the draft
like
happens and shit.
Yeah, when the draft happens, or unless some major contractual.
I mean,
stuff goes on.
I was about to say, no, it's usually right after the draft that we get off-season shit, right?
Yeah, and then we. Like, football doesn't there's that little couple weeks in April, beginning of May, and then around August is when we start talking about it again. But now we're getting back to the wrestling. And speaking of wrestling, Ricky Starks, if that is his real name, has joined NXT.
I like what you did there.
Because they were very, very deliberate about not mentioning his name.
They did the typical WWE NXT thing of is that, oh my, it is.
We know who that is.
Talk.
And Ricky himself went, you know who I am. But it was one of those things that they just did not say his name. He mentioned that he's absolute. So that, he's keeping that part. Or he might be the absolute one. Whatever, but either way,
he's more than likely. I feel like we're in an age of wrestling now that they try to keep wrestlers' names when they move over. Mm-hmm. I understand Alistair to Malachi and Buddy using his real name because WWE still had those copyrighted.
Yeah,
but is Ricky Starks his real name? Is that his shoot name?
I mean, if it is his shoot name, then I can understand them wanting to change it for trademark purposes. But yeah. I feel like Ricky owns the trademark to Ricky Starks.
Or at least for absolute Ricky Starks.
Yeah.
Especially if he's already using Absolute in NXT promos.
So, from what I can see, based on his Wikipedia, the source of all knowledge, Ricky Starks is his shoot name.
Okay. So he could still go by Ricky Starks going, hey, this might be a year or two thing that we're doing here. So let me use my name and see if we can't make money here.
But this brings up an interesting point, and people bitch and moan about name changes all the time. They bitched about it when Gunther changed to Gunther from Walter. They bitched about it when LA Knights became LA Knight instead of Eli Drake.
Whenever he went to fucking, what was it? Max
Dupree.
Yeah, Max Dupree.
That's different because that was a different gimmick. Like if you're in the same gimmick but you change your name, that's the problem. Like from Claudio Castagnoli to Antonio Cesaro, like people were complaining about that too. It's not that big of a deal. Do you still call Seth Rollins Tyler Black?
I don't.
No. This is my point. Like a name change in WWE, regardless of what it is, unless the name absolutely sucks. And even if the name does absolutely suck, like
usually it grows.
You get used to it. It grows on you. You call them that. It's not that big of a deal. I don't see what the issue is.
Well, and at this point, it doesn't matter. We have seen Ricky Stark on TV maybe 3 times in the last 2 years, it feels like. So just to know that the moment he got his release, I'm assuming they let his contract run out because he popped up on NXT like that.
Yeah, there was no 90-day non-compete.
Yes.
So he was already gone.
That goes to the next point. People are thinking that maybe Miro and Malachi have those 90-day non-competes. I don't know if Miro does. Miro hadn't been seen on TV for almost 1.5 years, 2 years. So I'm assuming maybe his contract ran out. Malachi, I could see his contract running out, but I think he was expected, by the summer?
Probably. Dwayne, I'm pretty sure it was. No, following along with Jordan Grace's X feed or Twitter feed or whatever. It's that's her sense of humor. Like you wouldn't debut in the Royal Rumble, like appear in the Royal Rumble twice, show up as TNA champion as Jordan Grace, and then get the name change. That doesn't make any sense.
Have an NXT Women's Title match as Jordan Grace.
Yeah. I mean, for crying out loud, like when Dana Brooke interfered in that match, they called her Ash by Elegance. Fandango showed up, they're calling him JDC. So, that I think in this era of WWE, more often than not, they're respecting the names of wrestlers that come from other places. I don't know why it would be different with Ricky Starks, aside from the fact that he has his name trademarked and it's his shoot name. Like,
yeah.
And if it's a thing where WWE wants to market it differently under their brand, let them, okay? Like, nobody's saying Eli Drake.
It's LA Knight now.
Yeah. So, and it's essentially the same gimmick. It really is.
Yeah.
So
it really is.
So we don't have to complain about a name change. Like, again, unless it's like, I don't know, throw out a terrible name like Booger McWhat now. Like if it's something dumb like that, then yeah, like he's not gonna get that over. But
I don't know. I feel like Undertaker, being nicknamed Booger Red. Imagine if that was his gimmick. Being Red. Called Booger Red instead of the Undertaker.
I mean, they called him that at WrestleMania. Like,
I know. It was Jim Ross's nickname for him.
Yeah. Dwayne says Starks could be like AJ Styles and own the right to his name and allow WWE to market it. That would be fine too. Like, just let WWE license the name and promote the name. but still own the trademark to it. That's perfectly fine too. Like that's completely in his wheelhouse to do if they let him. But the way it came across to me on TV, the way it came across when they posted all the stuff, and they did not mention him by name, leads me to believe they're changing his name. There's a lot of speculation about that today. So I feel like that's the direction they're going.
There could also be something. Again, it was literally announced, I believe, 24 hours prior to that he had been released from AEW. So there might be some legal thing there that there might trying to be work out. Because AEW does have merchandise, does have licensing, does have video games and shit that have Ricky Starks in them. So there might be something there binding him to those contracts that they might have to work out in order to get him called Ricky Starks in WWE.
My thing with that is, like, if his deal with AEW expired, then I feel like anything associated with him would become null and void at that point. Like, they wouldn't be able to continue to promote him as Ricky Starks because he's no longer there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's a situation because, again, AEW doesn't own the trademark to Ricky Starks. Ricky owns it. So I don't think that's the case here. All right, so it's almost 7:30. I think it's time to do our second wheel spin.
Second spin.
So, and if you guys want to donate in the chat, if you want to support the channel, we very much appreciate it. Half price spins night. Feel free.
You could make us do You could make us do physical labor.
It's very possible. We might be doing physical labor right now. We absolutely are.
150 squats.
No, 20 squats. 150. Do you want us to die on the air?
To be fair, my hamstring already hurts. I don't know what I did throughout the week, but my hamstring's already telling me no. So let's do it.
Yeah, I was going to say. So 20 squats it is. Let me pull up the... I might have it on here. I might not have had to close out. Let's see. Aha.
Aha.
I do have the theme song.
The Body Donna's theme song.
Yes, I do. All right, here we go.
Fuck, I'm out of shape.
You and me both, brother.
That's pretty good, babe.
Don't lie to me.
No, that's pretty good. I can't even do 20 in a row.
Dwayne, are you trying to kill us?
Ooh, burpees? I haven't done Taste Dragon cigarette. I haven't heard that name in years.
Yeah. That
was only 20 squats and I'm sweating. What does that say to me? What does that say about me?
What does it say about me? Like, I'm out of breath. This is why we need more people to donate, because once we do these, then we get
in shape, people.
Exactly. Get us in shape so that we can up our game.
Oh, exactly. That way we can have as much hate in our hearts as Kendrick Lamar.
Hey, if we get a Super Bowl halftime show out of it, we're good.
Well, Greg, have you had a chance to rewatch the Rumbles just yet?
I have not, actually.
Okay.
I'm waiting for the opportunity. I wanted to do it shortly after the Rumble, just to get those other couple videos up for the every Rumble ever countdown. But that is a goal. Like in the next week or so, I would love to be able to do it and then rank them accordingly. I'll tell you this much. I don't believe either of the Rumbles has taken the number one spot.
Oh, absolutely not. But
no.
I'm still interested to see where they rank on your list.
Yeah. I'm interested to see too, because I like to I like to blindly rank them. So I don't look at any scores. I actually hide all of the other rankings so I don't compare. And I just go with my gut when I rank everything.
I feel like the women's will probably rank on the middle spectrum for the women's just because of how the ending happened for you. And for the men's, I feel like the ending of that one might bump it up a little higher than it normally would for you.
There is some decent story told in the men's Rumble. So I think there's a possibility it might edge the women's.
They'll both end up in the middle of the pack, I believe.
Yeah, they're decent Rumbles. They're not terrible Rumbles. So they're going to rank higher than the 2022 for sure.
I still had to be there live for that one.
Was it any more fun being there live? Like, was it okay? Or were
it gives
they both
you the live bias. It gives you the live bias because I remember going back to my hotel room and scrolling Twitter and looking at Dev going, man, people are shitting on this show.
Listen, I was at the 2014 Rumble when everybody thought Daniel Bryan was coming out number 30, and he didn't. And the people in the crowd were pissed.
See, but the Philadelphia crowd is a lot more, aggressive than what, 22? Was that the San Antonio one?
Well, 15 was the Roman Rumble. 14 was in Pittsburgh.
Oh, 14 was in Pittsburgh. Okay, I thought it was in Philly.
No, Philly was the year after, and that one probably was even worse. They really dicked the state of Pennsylvania for 2 years straight.
But yeah, no, like I feel that because there was no piped in crowd noise in the arena. I felt like the crowd for the most part was really into it. Was like genuinely into it.
Yeah.
But the endings really did just feel like a kick to the dick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm sure there was a loud pop for Ronda showing up.
Oh yeah, massive pop. Even I popped. I was like, "Holy shit, Ronda's here!"
Yeah.
Oh shit, she's gonna win, isn't she? And then so here's the thing: after Brock lost to Bobby, my brain was immediately like, "Ah, fuck, this happened early. He's gonna be in the Rumble and win it."
Yep.
Like as soon as he lost, I was like, "Yeah, Bobby won." Ah, fuck, Brock's gonna win the Rumble.
Yep.
It's okay. It's shitty when you hear an entrant or you see something happen at the beginning of the show and you go, "Ah, fuck, this is how this is going to happen later on."
Yep. Like they just couldn't leave well enough alone.
No.
You just had to have a third Brock Roman main event at WrestleMania.
We just had to.
I'm glad that era seems to be done where stuff is forced upon us, which is funny considering my reaction last week to Charlotte winning.
No, I'm more. Oh, of course, we're expecting more snow later on.
Oh, speaking of winter weather, so we've had like really bad freezing rain and like ice storms here. So yesterday I was walking my dog outside, and like the entire ground, even like where the grass is at, covered in ice.
Oh God, Greg, no.
So I decided I wanted to take a full-on back bump outside. And when I say I decided, I mean the ice decided. So I don't know if you can see this, but I'm going to try and show.
The fates had plans for you. Oh,
yeah, that happened to me yesterday.
It looks like it looks like you got your arm ran over by a bike.
Yeah, so we have these like bushes next to the tree, and like or next to the house, and it feels almost like a tree. So like as I was going down and trying to brace myself because I went for wrestling training, I know how to take a bump. I caught my arm on that branch, and it just.
So people, notice how he said it feels like a tree. He's saying this from experience.
Yeah. So
that
was my yesterday.
So the bush didn't fucking move, is what you're telling me.
Oh no. No, I definitely moved, but it did not.
All right, Greg, gonna veer back to football for just a little bit.
Okay.
In the draft, just a few short months away, what does Pittsburgh need? Because you guys don't even know if you're going to have a fucking starting quarterback going into this next year, because neither Russ nor Justin Fields have been signed to a contract yet.
What we need is a miracle. And I say that because we need so much help. We need offensive line help like nothing else. We need help in the secondary. We need a defensive coach who knows what the hell they're doing. We need a head coach who doesn't just stick with quote unquote what's working and just trying to stick a square peg into a round hole. That's what we need.
Hey, man. The standard is the standard, and it
works. I'm sick of hearing that.
Greg is going to punch me when we meet in real life because of how many times I say that shit.
No, I'm not going to punch you. Hey, I'll give you a hug, and then if you say it to me, then I'll punch you. And I want you to take a full-on back bump, because if you don't, that's disrespectful.
Hey, if Undertaker tells you to take a hip toss, you take a hip toss.
Right, Maven? That's a funny story. Not for Devon. Oh, yeah. It's a funny story.
No, that I listen to, because he releases those perfectly while I'm at work, like early in the morning. So I get to listen to those to start my day. And whenever he told that story, I laughed so fucking hard at work. People are like, dude, are you okay?
We need to get Maven back on the program at some point.
Oh, absolutely. Because I want to get his thoughts on the Commanders, because they had a fantastic season. Yeah, well, they ran into a fucking steamroll of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I kind of.
Which, by the way, they scored the most points in playoff history. Those Philadelphia Eagles did.
Total?
Yeah, those like the games that they played in this playoff cycle is the most points scored in one playoff cycle in NFL history.
That's insane.
The Eagles had a fucking vendetta.
Yeah, I'd say so. But Maven has like his own Patreon, and every week he does a Q&A. So naturally, during the Q&A, I asked him about the Super Bowl, and mind you, this was less than a week after the Commanders lost.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing I said was, sorry about your Commanders, and you can see him face palm. It was like, thanks a lot, Greg. I'm not trying to rub it in, but like, I mean, you made the NFC Championship in Jaden Daniels' rookie year, so
he
can play too much.
Greg,
yeah,
you guys actually got a decent amount of cap space to use going into the offseason this year. Do you guys potentially jump at one of the veteran wide receivers? Maybe jump at one of the young ones like T. Higgins or Garrett Wilson, or do you guys jump at maybe Sam Darnold? Or the worst case scenario for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and one that would send you into a potential conniption fit, Aaron Rodgers to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That's not the worst case scenario. Like, if Deshaun Watson signed with the Steelers, I would become a fan of a different team.
Hey, we got room in the other orange and the other orange colored team.
Yeah. So I don't want Aaron Rodgers, because I don't think Aaron Rodgers can do anything that Wilson and Fields couldn't. Like, that, there's no upside there to me. Aaron Rodgers is at least 40. He's in his 19th season, around there.
I believe. Yeah, this was his 18th, I think.
And
he is 40. He's going on his 41st year.
Yeah. So it would be his 19th season. I don't see any upside in bringing him in. I don't.
Now, you guys, this is just from my standpoint. You guys should sign Justin Fields. There is absolutely nothing that he did this season that tells me he couldn't be your guys' bridge quarterback to get you to your next potential star.
Yeah. I mean, if Justin Fields develops too in the offseason, I wouldn't have a problem with that.
And I think Mike Tomlin's a good coach to develop a quarterback. I really do. I just don't think they gave Kenny Pickett enough time. Mitch Trubisky is Mitch Trubisky. I'll say that much.
Here's the thing. I don't think Kenny Pickett is an NFL level quarterback. I don't.
He's a good backup.
I mean, I saw some of the plays he made as the Eagles backup, and they were not good.
Valid.
So I am not on the Kenny Pickett train. I was definitely not on the Mitch Trubisky train.
Oh, I know you weren't.
I waved at the Mason Rudolph train as it went to Tennessee, but I haven't been sold on a quarterback since Roethlisberger. And I haven't been
projected to take a wide receiver in the draft.
Let me put it this way. I haven't been excited about the Steelers offense since the Killer Bees were there.
And that was a while back. That was before CTE Antonio.
Yeah. That was before Antonio Brown got bullhammered in the head.
And that's putting it lightly. A bullhammer would have been pleasant compared to what Vontaze Burfict gave him.
How Vontaze Burfict lasted in the league.
Dude, how he lasted another 4 fucking seasons after that hit is beyond me. He was able to do that to a Colt as a Raider.
He was a cheap shot artist. That's all he did. He was a thug.
Dude, he was able to do the same shit to Antonio 4 years later to a Colt while he was a fucking Raider.
And let me tell you what, Juju Smith-Schuster doing the block on him made me a fan instantly.
Valid.
Because that's exactly what he deserved. Yeah, that's exactly what he deserved. And I hated the commentary being like, "Oh, that was a terrible sportsmanship what he just did to Vontaze Burfict." It's like, do you watch Vontaze Burfict's career?
Yeah, bro. There are people around the league that were giving a standing applause. There were players around the league that saw that and were giving a standing applause.
Oh yeah.
So you guys are projected to grab a wide receiver in the draft.
Possibly.
So here are the top 5 wide receivers that you guys could potentially grab because you guys are pick number 21, right behind Denver.
Yep.
Travis Hunter, he's going to be gone in the top 4.
Travis Hunter is going to be 1 or 2.
Tetaroa McMillan from Arizona, he might be gone in the first 10.
Interesting.
You guys are projected to grab Luther Burden out of Missouri. But also on the board is Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State, Matthew Golden from Texas, and Trey Harris from Ole Miss.
The way I look at it is it's hard to predict where people are going to go. That's what I feel like mock drafts are a waste of time. Because everybody tries to predict, it's like, oh, this will happen. It's like if somebody trades somebody in like to move up to the third pick, it screws up the entire rest of the draft. So what's the point?
Oh yeah, just look back a couple of years ago when Houston did it.
Yeah.
Like everybody's draft board got fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody expected Houston to just go, we're going to go all in on this draft.
Yeah. So I feel like mock drafts are a complete waste of time. Like if it was a situation where draft picks couldn't be traded or whatever, if that was the case and everybody had to just draft as is every single year, then they would make more sense. But not everybody can predict who needs what and who's going to take what. So
with that, I feel like, you think you guys might trade your pick?
I don't know. I know there's been some talk about Deebo Samuels wanting to come to Pittsburgh.
This is going to be a very interesting offseason cycle.
Yeah.
Because Deebo Samuel, Garrett Wilson, like we mentioned earlier, Myles Garrett, Garrett Wilson.
Myles Garrett to Pittsburgh would make me laugh my ass off.
You have any idea how fucking scary that would be?
I don't think it's going to happen, for the record. I don't think it's going to happen. But if it did happen, I would laugh at the Browns so hard. Not like I don't already.
It would be the AFC North version of what happened with Saquon to the fucking Eagles.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. You look at that. If Myles Garrett goes to Pittsburgh, it will be the funniest fucking thing because both him and TJ Watt for the last 4 seasons, have been fighting for that Defensive Player of the Year spot. Now they're going to be on the same team arguing for it. But sorry for neither of them winning it this year, guys, because Denver actually got someone.
Yeah.
I was so happy.
All right, let's finish off the topics with some wrestling. We talked about Ricky Starks.
You want to talk about them other releases from both sides?
Yeah, we can talk about them. Like we brought up Malachi Black, who's I think likely going back to WWE. It makes sense if he does because his wife is there. Miro, I don't know what he's going to do. I really don't. Like
I think he goes back to WWE.
He might. Like I don't know if Triple H would want to use him again as far as that goes. Like I don't know if he would want to do the whole Rusev Day thing again. But like if it makes sense, fine. I think there's more sense in Aleister Black going to WWE. Nothing against Miro, for the record. I have nothing against him. He's a great athlete. He's entertaining. But if he doesn't fit in the mold with WWE, then I don't know.
Now, you know what I really want from that? And it's the exact thing I wanted from him when he first left, before he went to AEW. I want to see if he can't do a New Japan run. 2 years with New Japan. I want to see Miro do that.
I mean, he may very well. Like that would be okay.
Malachi is going to revert back to Aleister. It's almost a sure thing there.
I mean, there's been rumors already that he's Chad Gable's like
dark arts
for the dark arts of Lucha Libre.
I could see that, and I could actually be really down with that because give me a little tag team run with Gable and Malachi. Ooh, that would be fun.
Yeah,
but over to the WWE side of things, Sonya Deville Pure Fusion collection has been broken up. It's just Baszler and Starks now. Authors of Pain and Paul Ellering.
Yeah.
Final Testament is broken up in a done thing now.
It almost feels like AOP coming back was a complete waste of time. Because
not to them. They got a paycheck, man.
They did. But like AOP was like, I think back to how big of a deal they were in NXT. Like when they were in the tag division, they were one of the most dominant teams of all time. They came up to the main roster. Yes, they won a tag team championship, but there was just always something missing with them on the main roster. They got Paul Ellering back, which I thought was going to be a good thing, but
they just didn't use him the way they were.
No, and like I got nothing against Karrion Kross. Like I was fine with the stable, but they just didn't do much with them. So I don't know.
It does. I do feel bad for the guys, and I do believe Razor or Akam just came back from an injury. Speaking of injuries, the Good brothers, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, they weren't doing anything for like the last year and a half or so, but that was apparently because Carl Anderson was hurt. So they released him while Carl was hurt.
Also, Blair Davenport, Bea Priestley was released.
She just didn't fit. She did not fit with WWE's style.
And Isla Dawn also gone.
Now, that one is blasphemous. She was literally everything WWE looks for in a female talent.
And
beautiful,
like, champion
good in the ring.
She was a tag team champion like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
7 months ago.
They had her and Kaylee Ray win the title in their home country, which kind of feels, virtuous now, but those two women did deserve the tag title run that they had because they are both fantastic talents.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? We already talked about Sonya Deville.
Yep.
Good brothers. Oh, Duke Hudson.
Duke Hudson was prior to the multiple releases.
Yeah, he was what? Reportedly released in January?
Like right before the Rumble happened.
And that's crazy too, because what was it? The reason was because they didn't see him as main roster ready when fantastic on the mic, great in the ring, very athletic. Like he's also a picture perfect WWE star. I don't know why they would release him.
I don't know either. I don't know the reasons behind any of the releases. Perhaps they didn't have any future plans for them. I don't know what the reasons are. I don't like to speculate what the reasons are either because, again, as somebody who has lost their job for one reason or another, you don't want to add salt to the wound. They already lost their job. It's a tough thing for them. Hopefully they can land on their feet pretty quickly. We'll see what happens.
Another thing not to do is speculate who else might lose their job. Like I saw people who go, we lost Isla Dawn and Sonya Deville, but this person is still here, or so-and-so still here, but you guys really – that's not how to treat this situation either.
No, and the people who post out there that do stuff like that, they did that with Baron Corbin for years. Be like, oh man, these guys got released, but Baron Corbin's still here. It's like, first of all, you guys can fuck off because Baron Corbin's awesome.
Fantastic person.
What's his new name?
Bishop Dyer.
Bishop Dyer, yeah. I was trying to think. I had Dwyer in my head, but like I might have been thinking like Parks and Rec, Andy Dwyer.
I thought you were thinking of Bud R. Dwyer. Don't YouTube that, folks.
I'm gonna leave that alone. And now people are all like, "Oh man, he was so good." It's like, guys, I was on his bandwagon since Lone Wolf.
We've been big Baron fans for a while.
Yeah, I've been a Corbin fan since before the show started. So I don't want to hear it from other people that they were like, oh, like they were down on Corbin in 2019. I was still on the Corbin train when he was Constable Corbin. I stood beside the guy going through that. So
to be fair, that was one of the roughest times for any gimmick I've ever fucking seen.
2019 was just a bad creative year. Okay, let's call it what it is.
You call that creative?
Like I said, it was a bad creative year, 2019.
They are ashamed of calling themselves a creative team.
Okay, let's call it what it is. Aside from like the Bloodline stuff, 2018 to 2022, not the best ride.
I'm still remembering that fucking zombie thing where John Morrison got eaten.
And they did nothing with it after. He was fine.
Didn't the zombies also eat Miz in the ring too?
Probably.
God, that was... Well, there was some good to the Thunderdome era. There was a lot of fucking bad to that era.
Remember the eye for an eye match?
Look, okay.
The actual match itself was great.
No, it was a good match. I went into that night going, I have no idea. Because even all of the reports, I remember a Fightful report going, they've got planned for something to happen with an eye. Like, I was like, they're going to do the weirdest fuck shit. Yep. And they did. Mm-hmm. They sure as fuck. By the way, Ray, what happened to that little flap thing? Did they ever explain his eye coming back?
So I think they explained it that night that it's like his eye didn't completely come out. It was just like detached. So they went through surgery, reattached it. And like he wore that as a protective thing so his eye could heal. And then now he doesn't have it anymore.
All right. Do y'all remember like the old gummy Halloween candy eyeballs? Like that is exactly what they put between Ray's fingers to make it look like he had his eyeball.
Yeah.
God, that was such a bad time in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
It really is a wonder how they came back from that, how pro wrestling came back from that period of time.
Let me put it this way. If it wasn't for Drew McIntyre, Sasha Banks, and Bayley, they probably wouldn't
have. AEW's got their heroes during that time period, too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there are a few heroes that saved that fucking time period.
Yeah, like Omega, obviously was one of them. Really, Omega, Brody Lee, who unfortunately passed away during that time.
During it, even Bray Wyatt, like the Fiend helped carry a lot of that time too.
Yeah, he did. It is. Yeah, the pandemic era was not a great time. There are some highlights for sure, but it was not a great time. All right, so on that note, we're going to get out of here.
We got Dynamite tonight. Final Dynamite before, what's it called, right? The
Grand Slam.
Yeah, Australia. Grand Slam in Australia.
Mm-hmm. I hope that Mercedes and Harley Cameron just tear the house down.
I hope so, but it's going to be a lot of carrying from Mercedes. Like, I love Harley Cameron, but it's a big moment, and I hope that it doesn't make her too nervous in the ring.
If anybody carry Harley Cameron through that moment, it's Mercedes.
Absolutely.
So
I'm excited for the whole pay-per-view as a whole. I'm excited for Dynamite coming up. So everybody enjoy it whenever you tune in as well.
Exactly. And we'll do more wheel spins next week. I don't think we're going to do half price. We may. I don't know. I set out a goal today to be like, hey, we get 50 super chats. I'm going to do an entire show covered in syrup. But we'll think of some good show goals for the future.
Some incentives.
As it was. So thank you very much for joining us. Go enjoy Dynamite. Don't be a jag. And we'll see you next week on The Greg Cherry Show.
Stay safe, stay healthy, stay hydrated.